This video is not a defense of Tekken 8's systems, design, mechanics, or development. Now that we have that out of the way, I want to talk about the surge of unrest surrounding Tekken 8's design following a tweet from Arslan Ash, where he expressed his frustration with all the 50-50s and how he felt depressed playing the game, especially so often in highly competitive settings. It's gotten to the point that some call back to Tekken 7 as a real Tekken, and we want a return to that. Now, I want to be clear, before I criticize Tekken 7, that I am a Tekken 7 fanboy. In fact, aside from Arslan Ash himself, I feel that Tekken 7 benefited my career the most, both as a player and a content creator. But I can't sit here in good conscience, turn on the camera, and say that is an example of real Tekken. And I want to take you along for a ride through old school Tekken, break down some clips, and explore how we got to where we are now, and maybe how Tekken 8 can make improvements. All right, this is the tweet that kind of kicked it all off. The people yearn for real Tekken. Now, if you haven't seen this clip, it's a really exciting tournament clip, but we're analyzing the gameplay. So I'm going to take advice from one of the best coaches in the scene, Speed Kicks, to watch this clip on mute. Now, I've actually pulled it up on YouTube because it's easier to replay, rewind, things like that. So let's check out this clip on mute. No commentary, no nothing. It's in slow-mo. I apologize. Here, let's do it here. All right. Dragunov, JDCR versus Knee's Fang. After the throw, Knee tries to kill with a down 4. They're disengaging, backing up. Knee is going to play the clock, right? He has the health advantage. If he gets low parried, Dragunov can kill with a low parry combo into a rage art. However, Knee messes up a backwards hop kick and loses on time going to final round, messing up his attempt to time out JDCR. Now, this is Season 1 Tekken 7, so very early in the release. There were, I believe, 1 or 2 years of arcade-only gameplay, and then now we're on the console release and the Tekken World Tour. Changing jabs, backdashing, down forward 3 on block. And this is really important to, I think, start with this clip. Because on the surface, it looks like great Tekken. You don't see a bunch of heat engaging. You don't see a bunch of 50-50s. You see a lot of moving around. You see a few pokes here and there. And you're going to see a really cool play from JDCR come up. Throw is broken from Knee. We're down to 25 seconds from the 60-second round. The time is running out for JDCR to make a play. Just Knee is winning the poke war constantly. But a beautiful whiff punish. QCF1 from JDCR converting to a combo. No heat burst, right? He just uses his rage drive, expending his rage, plays a few wake-up situations. Knee wants to win off the timer. Back Kenpo to dodge. And he survives and times out JDCR in the final round. Tons of Tekken till the very end. So it appears. Obviously, you're watching this video, so there's other gameplay to see. So he said watch this on mute as if to show that that's not really real Tekken. For those confused, here's a round of the two same players, Knee and JDCR, spending more time in active threat range, making actual decisions against each other on an infinite stage. The idea, infinite stage, there's no wall pressure, so theoretically you could disengage more often. But in these older Tekkens, you were incentivized to engage more. You're going to see keep out, attempted sidesteps on the keep out, ducks on keep out attempts, etc. All right, so here, beginning of the clip. This is Heihachi on the left, JDCR. Tekken Tag 2 had obviously 2 characters per side. Neon Deviljin on the right. Right, so they are still doing some backdashing, they're doing some sidesteppings, but you're going to see them, you're going to see them running into close range and engaging. They're engaging in mind games based on when they close the space and when an attack might come out. JDCR tries an electric, Marduk goes underneath with the down back 4. JDCR finishes the string, Knee gets a small block punish, down back 4 again. JDCR tags out to get the full life bar again. In this game, when one character dies, you lose the round. You don't get to use both characters' life bars unless you get the tag out successfully. Look at the engagement, but there's a counter hit launch from Knee. He's going to get a huge damaging combo here. But because of the tag feature, JDCR can still play the game more. Unfortunately, he's going to tag out at a really bad time, and you cannot block right as you tag in. Nice block punish from JDCR. It's not over. He tries to engage again, gets a nice down back 2, and then gets kept out by Knee. That was a 60-second... That was a 1-minute round. But did you see how much engagement there was in this whole clip? Right? There's an 80-second clock in Tekken Tag 2, but the whole clip is about 63 seconds, right? And the amount of action happening is much higher. Now, it's a tag game, so it's understandably a bit different. So, PhiDX acknowledges this, says, even being as charitable as I can to Tekken 7, here's same two players, Knee and JDCR, on an infinite stage, both using defensive characters in a single health bar game. And he wants you to pay attention to the mind games around dash in, sidestep, keep out, realign. Now, if we're moving too fast, I'm going to break these down in slow motion so you can really, really understand how these clips are flowing. And like there's a lot of really cool tech in here. Here's the clip on YouTube just so it's in higher quality. It's very, very old Tekken 6 footage. Let's check it out. Round 4. They're playing this is an infinite stage. No walls. Armor King versus Brian. And you'll notice right away, again, when they run up close, there's a lot of engagement. It almost feels like Tekken 8. But instead of just straight 50-50s, they're ducking each other's highs. They're sidestepping each other's pokes. Knee puts out a mid that catches a backdash duck from Armor King. Look at the camera is moving because they're both sidestepping with each other. Right? They backdash again, disengage, and now it's time to fight again. Backdash again, then they're running into fight. It's very, very different from Tekken 7. Again, we're going to break it down in slow motion so you can really see. Knee switching to just movement and sidesteps, trying to bait out Armor King's keep out. Down back 3. Big whiff, not a giant whiff punish. But Knee finds a counter hit magic 4, drops the combo. Sidestep jet upper offensively with the defensive character, and he kills. Look at this play one more time. I went way too far back. I forgot that this is a giant clip. I went way too far back. Look at this one more time. That was incredible play. So 2 defensive characters, infinite stage, but there's still playmaking, right? So what Knee does here is he runs up and jabs, and JDCR tries to contest now. And that is what gives him the sidestep jet upper. He reads JDCR attempting the down forward 1. The sidestep is powerful enough to enable him to do this. And it's not just that it enabled him to make that play, it enabled him to make all the mind games that led to that play. So, let's break down why all these old Tekkens are so cool, and why Tekken 7 kind of wasn't. And again, giant Tekken 7 fanboy. I love that game. But there's a lot of cool Tekken here. So what I've done, well, what I want to do first is talk about the notes that you see down here. I haven't mentioned it till now. Fighting games in general are... You play mix-ups, like mids and lows in Tekken. In Street Fighter, it's like overheads and lows. And then strike or throw in other games, right? But once you're in range, there's mix-ups on defense. You can't perfectly block everything unless you're like a computer. To avoid the mix-up, like if you look at my hands here, to avoid the mix-up at this range, usually when you're playing neutral and like moving back and forth, there's keep-out attempts. So if your opponent's running in to start a mix-up, you can keep them out. Right? That kind of dodges the whole mix-up situation. In Tekken, instead of mid or low, you can run up to me and I'll just hit you. If I try to hit you, this is me, and you predict it, you can whiff punish, right? That is the neutral triangle. Mix up, keep out to prevent the mix-up, but if you read the keep out, you can get whiff punished. Now, Tekken adds an extra layer. If that was confusing, by the way, there are links I'll include below to good explanations of that. And we'll cover it more later in the video. Tekken adds a layer of complexity where you're not just playing this back and forth to get in range. Once you're in range, you're still playing options. Mainly, sidestep can mitigate keep out. We saw it here in the clip with JDCR and Knee. JDCR tried a down forward 1, and Knee played sidestep jet upper while still in threat range. He gave up his turn because he whiffed a jab and still played a sidestep. This adds layers of not just dash in, dash out, keep out, whiff punish, but sidestep and realign, whether you sidestep yourself or forward dash to catch up. Again, in-depth explanation coming later. What I've done to highlight the complexity of this round is I've noted every single action they took for the first 10 seconds. So what I want to do is play this clip again in 0.25 speed. And watch and follow along with me here. I have a cursor here. So JDCR's on the left, Knee's on the right. Follow along with the actions. And we'll, if you need to rewind the video to catch it again, that's fine. So, round start. JDCR plays sidestep left duck, and Brian plays duck. Then they backdash duck, backdash. JDCR is going to wave dash in, and Knee dashes in. Right? Now look at this. I know this is super fast, and I'm going to let it play again. But here's another key interaction. Right after they run up, JDCR does forward into a down forward 1, and knee does run up jab, and the jab is faster. Okay? I'm going to keep listing out the actions. I'll explain more later. JDCR ducks to beat a potential high, and knee did dash duck into grab. This 1-2 is a whiff punish. JDCR does down forward 2, knee blocks it. JDCR stand blocks and eats a down 4. Now he does down forward 1, knee dash blocks it. Duck underneath the jab, small down 4. Now they both backdash, and knee does backdash duck into while standing 4. Run up down forward 1 from JDCR. Knee does run up duck and gets a small down jab whiff punish. And then while standing 4, the down forward 2. All of those actions happened in 10 seconds. Now, when they're ducking, it's because they're looking to go under a jab, or in this case, Armor King has the dark upper, which is kind of like a Mishima Electric. That is an intentional read when they're putting out those ducks. And when we look at the Tekken 7 gameplay, you'll see that that's completely missing. Run it one more time now that you've seen it in slow motion, this time no pauses, okay? I'm going to list out knee's actions this time. So he ducks, hard reading a high, backdash, 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 then run up, jab. Dash up, duck, grab, nice whiff punish from JDCR here. Now knee does backdash block, goes down 4, JDCR stand blocking, so he gets hit. Knee does dash block, jab gets ducked, eats the down 4 when he's backdashing. Then he does backdash intentional duck to beat a potential high while standing 4 as keep out. Backdash sidestep right block, backdash again, dash up duck, down jab to whiff punish while standing 4 to counter JDCR's mash. Okay? Now, there's some abbreviated decision making that gets really cool here. So I'm not going to list every single action, but here's some cool ones to note. So look, knee's approaching, sidestepping to the right. That's countering potential keep out. And then he does this standing 3. Why does he do this standing 3? Well, it's because he sees JDCR doing backdash hard duck. This isn't a Korean backdash. This is backdash intentional duck. It's a structured movement. And knee attacks this. He's paying attention and attacks this with standing 3. Now when he does dash jab, JDCR does sidestep left duck. That makes the while standing 4 a little bit too slow. We're here now on the notes. And then he's going to do 2 wave dashes eventually after a few more interactions, right? Backdash, wave dash while standing 4. Why did he wave dash twice? It would realign if the Brian were sidestepping. Now, here's a cool interaction that doesn't pay off in knee's favor, but is worth noting. The next time Armor King decides to wave dash again, knee attacks assuming that Armor King is going to do 2 wave dashes. So these actions I haven't noted down here. The throw is going to feel really, really slow in slow motion. I'll point it out again when it comes up. Forward dash up, they block, they both disengage. Backdash, backdash, backdash. Wave dash, dash down forward 1. Now look at what Brian did. If you've ever fought Brian, you'll know that he has a counter hit launching mid, right? When knee sees Armor King wave dash the first time, right? He puts out the 3+4 to match the second wave dash attack. So if JDCR autopiloted the same option, he would have died. But JDCR changed his option into single wave dash down forward 1. Now this is super nerdy stuff, I know. And it only amounts to a tiny amount of damage. But that is a lot of Tekken happening in 23 seconds. Let's contrast that with the Tekken 7 clip. All right, let's go back to this clip. Now, I'm going to play this again in slow motion once we get past this intro part. So this round is more or less decided. And again, I mentioned the reason why you don't just see knee go for the kill here is because one low parry into combo, into Rage Art, Dragunov's Rage Art would kill him. So rather than play the variance game of trying to survive the low parry and the counter hits and the whiff punishes, knee is just going to try to play time and keep out with his jabs and his defense. Right? He puts in a back 4 because it's a safe tracking mid. Unfortunately, he eats the first running 2, loses HP, eats another running 2, trying to hop kick and dies, right? Or runs out of time. Now, let's analyze this part. So again, I haven't notated everything, but hopefully it'll be clear the difference in the amount of actions and the complexity of the decision making. All right, so the round opens, final round, fight. Ready, fight. Okay. Both players do 3 backdashes, exiting any threat range. There's a bit of a delay before Knee does his. There was a lot of input delay in Season 1, Tekken 7. Now, JDCR does a jab from range 8, and Fang does run up. JDCR backdashes as Fang jabs. JDCR does backdash, sidestep left. Fang runs up, down, forward 1, then sidestep left, backdash. So disengaging again. He tries a forward 4 to clip JDCR coming in. Doesn't happen. Tries the back turn jab. Doesn't happen. JDCR runs in and attempts a slide and eats a 1-2. Okay. After this down forward 1 is blocked, they small sidestep and then they disengage again. Right? Tons of disengaging. Full screen disengage one more time. Let's keep the clip going. Again, you won't see the notations anymore. That's just the level of detail I'm looking at. Run up, down, forward 1. It hits, so he plays his frame advantage with the grab. JDCR tries to throw break after ducking, and he's going to eat a punish because it becomes a power crush if you just input 1+2 as Dragunov. Backdash, backdash. 1 jab. Plays the advantage with a down forward 3. He loses his turn, so now he's going to back off. Disengage. 1 jab from distance. While standing 4. Nothing. Disengage. So you'll notice it's no longer plays being made on their keep out with sidesteps with hard ducks. They're playing neutral pokes, yes, and they're playing in and out, yes, and you do see sidesteps, but the sidesteps are not plays made on neutral timings. Their attempts, I'm going to speed this up again a bit because this is a bit choppy. Their attempts made on safe timings. Tekken 7's sidestep was so inconsistent. Tekken 7's sidestep was so inconsistent that the only time you could do it reliably was on hit or on block. Right? So you would do a poke and then put in your sidestep. In this case, he does a homing move, knee, to try and stop a sidestep. But they're trying to clip each other in neutral in the open. Knee does a back kenpo and blocks the running 2, breaks the throw. Backdash, backdash. And that's the thing. The default option most of the time is put out a poke and disengage. 1-2 whiff punish. 1-2 sidestep and back off. Down 4. Nice poke to catch him. Down forward 3. JDCR mid pokes again. Down forward 1. Keep out. Success. Small mix up. These sidestep rights are all on block and hit timings, right? You're not seeing them sidestep like that when they're in the range of actual threats, right? I'm going to go and cover that moment again because that was cool. But if you see JDCR sidestepping, he's not in the threat of, he's not in attack threat. There's no threat, like here, this sidestep right. What is Fang going to hit you with here when you sidestep right? Nothing. This is a positional sidestep, trying to get away from the wall. This is not an attempt to make a play on Knee's offense, okay? Before we go, like to give credit where it's due, we should look at that whiff punish situation. Right? Back 4, dash up, whiff poke. So how does JDCR find this whiff punish? Because that's one thing I do want to cover. I think that was a really, really cool whiff punish and kind of a flash or an echo of like what makes Tekken so cool. All right, down forward 1, Knee does sidestep down 4. They sidestep together, jab is put out, down forward 4, and then this. How did this happen, right? Down forward 4 hits. Now, JDCR had been playing a lot of running 2. JDCR had been playing a lot of sidesteps in the open, but for whatever reason, Knee thinks this back 4 is going to hit. JDCR does a predictive QCF1. You cannot react reasonably, I don't think, to a Fang back 4 and find a whiff punish. JDCR just does a micro backdash just to get out of the way and already rips the QCF1. So this was a hard read, more honestly in line with the old school Tekken stuff. A small backdash. So that was a really, really cool moment, and I think that was really sick. But the overall amount of gameplay happening is less. And when I say gameplay, it's making those plays off the sidesteps and the keep outs and the defensive options. Instead, both players are preferring to backdash and disengage most of the time. Let's pause. That was a lot. I want to look at those clips in full speed again, and now that you've looked at it in detail, see if you can notice the difference, okay? See if this is as clear to you as I claim to be. Yeah, as clear as I claim it to be for me. All right, Armor King, Tekken 6. So they backdash, and that looks similar to Tekken 7. But now they're brawling up close, playing hard ducks to dodge the highs. That's a key difference, I think, right away. But you're also seeing sidesteps as they dash up. Wave dashes to realign. Sidestep ducks. Right? Disengaging again a bit and then coming into brawl again. Nice running up low. Catching him ducking with the homing move. Knee is running up and sidestepping to the right. Brian's a defensive character, but he's not backdashing. He's forward dashing and playing movement instead of hitboxes. Big whiff, no punish. 1, 2, down 3. Magic 4. Ugh. Okay, no combo. Sidestep jet upper. Look at that. Did it not feel faster and a bit more action-packed? Let's look at this JDCR versus knee clip again after the first timeout and compare, okay? Sorry, I want to do this at full speed. I apologize. I killed my own momentum. Okay, full speed. Look at this clip. From Ready Fight. 3 backdashes. Full disengage. Some jabs. Run up, down, forward 1. So knee is running up again, right? 1, 2, keep out. Full disengage. Full screen gameplay. Small punish here. Run up, jab. So knee has always loved playing run up, jab, right? But where are the sidesteps? Where are the ducks? JDCR is only sidestepping when he's so far out of range that he just wants to change his position. But it's just forward and back gameplay. There's none of the hard ducks, none of the sidesteps. Yes, it's the keep out jabs, it's the small pokes. But can you sense that missing dimension of interaction? They get up close, they do a few pokes and sidesteps, and then they disengage. Here's a lot more interaction as JDCR needs to make a comeback with his HP, right? So this is getting a bit more intense and it gets spicier towards the end. But that took 40 seconds to kind of get back to where we were from round start in the other game. Okay, so we might as well let this round finish up. Rage drive plus frames back out of range, safe coverage mids, and then nothing, right? This is Season 1 Tekken 7 before it was optimized. When we got to late stage Tekken 7, it got ugly. Now, I'm going to show this clip. This is actually me versus knee. Why did Tekken 7 end up this way? The sidestep became unreliable, which meant you no longer get dash in, sidestep, keep out, realign. You get dash in, keep out. Sidestep if there's a hit or a block. Low parry made it so scary to attack that it was more beneficial to be the defender. When you combine that with the fact that counter hit launchers were buffed and counter hits now happened on trade when you collide at the same time, you have like the perfect defensive game plan. Is find a low parry on a random timing, find a counter hit on a random timing, put out your safe moves that won't get sidestepped. Look at me playing Noctis against Knees Steve. Again, late stage Tekken 7. I put out a mid poke, confirm the hit, low poke. All right, he sidesteps, small 1-1-2. The reason he doesn't launch that is because it's not easy to step that reliably, so he had to like visually confirm it. There I did a sidestep duck while standing 1-2, so like textbook sidestep on hit or block. And I have the health lead here. I'm on an infinite stage. Homing, counter hit, launching, safe mid. Putting him near lethal. I keep him out of rage on purpose because Steven Rage is a nightmare. Now Knee is going to have to mix me up to kill me. And remember, the one low parry kills him here. So he goes low because he sees I'm literally just going to backdash the entire time. He's trying to get me to respond. I'm not biting. I put out an up forward one to try to counter hit, and then I launch his his forward dash with the hop knee, right? There is no complexity here to what was happening. Well, that's a lie. It's not that there was no complexity. There was very little complexity to what was happening. And this isn't a Noctis specific thing. This isn't a Steve specific thing. This was a legitimate way to play the game. Compare that to the infinite stage gameplay we just watched here. Right? You don't see them backdashing full screen because it was actually advantageous to attack. It was also advantageous to defend because movement was so good. But if you outplayed their defensive movement, you could actually profit a lot. Here, JDCR is putting out a bunch of down fours because he knows Knee is going to pursue him. And Knee responds similarly. He handles the threat of the Mishima Electric really well by putting out a lot of ducks. He puts out the down back four, which will dodge the electric. And they're just scrappy. Do you see Marduk duck here? This is all to get around the dark upper and the jabs. That hard duck there. Whiff punish with a grab. He doesn't get like a strong punish. It just takes his turn. They're playing so much more actively on this infinite stage. because the game rewarded it. Even with no walls to pressure you, the fact that you had options as a defender and you had ways to counter it as an attacker incentivized that gameplay. Right? Like this is really cool to me. I know Tekken Tag 2 has a reputation for almost killing the series. But which gameplay would you rather watch? That or this? I missed tons of whiff punishes on Steve here, by the way. I just threw out a counter hit launcher. It happened to hit. The only tactical decision I really made was keeping him out of rage because Steve's rage drive, again, was really, really strong. I'm just not interacting until I can find my keep out, my low parry, or put out my nuke button that will kill him. Hopefully that demonstrates the point. Actually, like, the point can keep going. Now, what I want to talk about next, as you watch me continue to backdash and rob with an up forward 3, is what, like maybe you're not convinced by my analysis, right? Like maybe it's not that clear. Let's package it up and summarize it in a very concrete way. It's been 26 minutes, and I appreciate you sticking around if you have. Min360 asks, am I insane for thinking that the only real difference in the Tag 2 clip here is just the type of movement being used to avoid getting clipped? Like, yeah, they're sidestepping and ducking, but isn't that just different? Like, it's the same thing as all the backdashing here. It's just a different flavor of movement. Speed responds, it's not backdash to avoid being clipped. It is go to range 4 to exit the range of all threats, right? You can no longer hit me because I'm way over here. Sidestepping is a form of countering specific options while accepting the potential of the other options that might hit you. That sidestepping leads to tracking and realignment timing mind games, right? Min responds, I'm sure you've answered this before, but what is it about Tag 2 that made people interact more than in 7? As far as I know, counter tools were just as strong as they were in 7, and combos were liable to leave you with a guess for game health, right? One launch, guess for game. Was it a stronger sidestep alone that made a difference? Speed responds that it's not just that a lot of moves in 7 got turned into counter hit launchers and launchers. It was the buff to low parry, which makes it worse for the attacker risk-reward wise. Counter hits trading and launching, and 1 health bar. In Tag 2, you had 2 health bars. So even though a combo did 70%, if you earned the chance to tag back, you healed up basically, and you could survive another combo. So it was no longer guess for life. This is important, and if you were kind of following along with my logic as I was talking about all the backdashing here after pokes, compared to the Tekken 6 gameplay, it should be clear that they were making sidestep plays rather than exiting threat range and then trying to play the keep out timing one more time. EX Depresso says, I see the same thing watching the Tekken 7 clip, right? At times they're at range 5, but it's not like they set up camp there. They're back in range 1 before 2 seconds have gone by, and I'm seeing the exact same things you mentioned when they're up close, right? Curious about your point of view as to what I'm missing here. So this is a great explanation of not just Tekken, but general fighting game stuff. Imagine a red zone in front of the characters that go as far as the attacks they can potentially do. So just a visual example here. When you're here, right, you're in jab range. Right? When you're here, you're still in some attack ranges, but you can play a backdash to make something whiff. That's part of the thing that made this Tekken clip so cool. Sorry, I'll go back to the tweet in a sec. I just thought a visual aid would be really important here. So here, they're in the red zone, right? Like this Dragunov poke puts him at the tip of his threat range. Like Dragunov doesn't have many threats that hit immediately right here, except if he does a single backdash and QCF1s. Right, so this is like his very tip range. He baited a whiff and punished. That is like textbook fighting games. Now, back to this. He says, imagine a red zone in front of the characters that go as far as the attacks they can potentially do. Baiting whiffs outside of this zone to discourage attacking and predicting when you'll step in that zone to put them in block and hit stun situations and establish timing is fundamentals, right? But the cool thing about Tekken is what happens when you step in that red zone. It's not just in-out prediction anymore. You're still picking options that may or may not get countered based on how your opponent responds, right? If you close the gap, they can sidestep, you can dash to realign. You can sidestep and their jab could whiff. This is what we saw here, right? They close the gap and it's no longer just in-and-out gameplay, right? It's no longer in and out because of sidestep jet upper in this specific case, right? Hopefully that makes sense. if you look at the Tekken 7 clip, they're either out of the red zone or they are in block or hit stun and trying to return back outside the red zone. Right? So they're in doing some scrapping, doing some poking and sidestepping, and then they want to disengage because it is more statistically safe to be there. It is in the past clips I posted, Speed, they are in the red zone much longer while making plays on each other. Sidesteps, forward dashes, keep out, and ducks. Right? He says he sees what I mean, and we appreciate the adjustment from JDCR after the back forward to get that it wasn't back four, it was down forward 4 to get that whiff punish. But that was the coolest moment, right? But it's more clear it happens in earlier titles. Now, there's one other thing that I want to talk about. Why weren't the Tekken 7 players getting in the red zone? And this is where the changes made from Tag 2 to Tekken 7 show up. In this specific clip, it was Season 1, so it's not fully optimized gameplay. The game also had more input lag, and Tekken 7 risk reward favored defense, right? The low parries, the counter hits. More risky than rewarding to be the one initiating. If you're new to Tekken 8, the issue is Namco tried too hard to fix the risk-reward problem by creating the opposite issue. We're in the red zone too much, and it feels high variance and like uncontrollable guessing at times. And this I agree with. This actually I heavily agree with. How could we get it back to Tag 2 Tekken 6? We could buff sidestepping to Dark Resurrection Tekken 5 levels. So you have to really think when pressing a button in that zone. That makes it riskier for the attacker. If you rework, remove, or nerf heat to death, it reduces attacker reward as well. Or if you buff backdash, it reduces the frequency that we're in the red zone. Right? So it's not the red zone, I think that's the problem. It's how often we're in the red zone here, right? And what can happen to you in the red zone, right? Like, they've reduced the threat of counter hits, which got people to interact more. So you see a lot more brawling up close in Tekken 8. But because heat is so strong and string tracking is so strong, you would often get Dragunov heat engaging off a back 4-3. You would get Elisa heat engaging off forward 2-1. Let's just show these visually. I want to shout out again, hi Buff Gigas, please, for demonstrating some of the changes in the most recent patch. Here we go. So this is Dragunov QCF4 changing, but what's interesting is how they nerfed back 4-3 as a string. It used to track on the second hit, but now it doesn't anymore. If every string in Tekken 8 behaved like this, you would have a lot less 50-50 guessing, right? You would have the ability to play sidesteps a bit more often and make the attacker think a little more, right? And that is one of the proposed options by Speed to return to this Tekken 6 Tag 2 style of play. Now, to kind of conclude the thought ideas here, it's not that Tekken 8 is suddenly a saving grace from Tekken 7. It's like the saving of the series, return to Real Tekken. It's more that because you can make plays with sidesteps, because you can control interactions, because you can initiate, you're rewarded for fighting in a fighting game. A lot more people who played a lot of Tekken 7 are enjoying it. Whereas Tekken 7 feels more like High Fight's Footsie's game. If you don't know what game it is, it's a 2D game. It's fire. This game is sick. But it's a game literally in straight 2D focused on the basics of footsies. Right? It's actually really fun if you want to play with some friends sometime. Yeah. We talked about a lot of info. We covered a lot of Tekken interactions that were super nerdy. But if we want to wrap it up, Tekken used to be really fast, active decision-making on top of standard fighting game neutral, of like in and out, keep out, whiff punish, mix-ups, right? Tekken 7 took this, and because movement was kind of turning off people, it was so hard to hit people if you were a noob, they wanted the game to be a lot more accessible. So what they did is they nerfed sidesteps really heavily, they made backdashes okay, but they made a lot of hitboxes track better too. So you lost the ability to play defensively you lost the ability to play proactively in terms of dashing in, sidestepping, right? Dashing in and playing aggressive lows to initiate a response out of your opponent, to induce a response out of your opponent with your initiative, Their idea was they wanted people to stop moving and swing more. But because movement was so bad, right, and you can't offensively move anymore, it turned into the opposite, where the safest choice was just to find your low parry, find your counter hit, find your small pokes in neutral, right? They made an attempt, and I think they whiffed on what their design, what they wanted to do with the design. So when Tekken 7 devolved into this backdash fiesta because all moves are too strong, right? Like if you interact, you get launched, counter hit launched by a safe move. So when the game devolved into pokes and backdashes like this, when this is what late stage Tekken 7 became, and they were designing Tekken 8, they decided we want people to really interact. And they kind of thought from the ground up, what is the way to do this? Well, if we give people better sidesteps, let me see if I can find a clip here. If we give people better sidesteps and we let them interact a little bit more, right? Like give attacks, like make attacking really fun. Give us heat engages, things like that. But if we give people sidesteps so they feel like they can counter it at least, then we're no longer having these backdash fiestas. Backdash fiestas. We're having Tekken. We're having fighting, right? If you ever watch like boxing, people will complain if people play like hyper defensive or they're just moving around, clinching, disengaging, right? The spectators don't like that. And this is probably old news, but this is what Tekken 8 is about. Like they wanted to really stop that. I have a little clip here that's really, really cool at demonstrating this thing. It's from the beta. However, in an effort to force interaction, we've gotten to a point in Tekken 8 where it is just too much, right? And I think that's more or less undeniable how we are in a point of too much interaction. So this is a clip from the beta of Tekken 8 where I sidestepped an electric and it blew my mind, right? So I'm playing Jin on the left, and once I sidestep a Kazuya, I think I pop off because it was there.
Left, okay.
Doing a sidestep like that in Tekken 7 was really hard. It wasn't impossible, especially with later DLC characters that had better movement.
Could have killed him.
But that was the first thing that stood out to many of us and was clearly part of Tekken 8's design. Unfortunately, and one of my biggest frustrations with the game, look at that sidestep, is that backdashing got nerfed. So you're forced to be in the red zone constantly.
Oh, nice selection.
And this isn't news to anybody who plays Tekken 8, right? This is not news. This is way too familiar. But that sidestep, especially in neutral, is crazy, right? We're in neutral, right? Sidestep, nothing happens. This isn't on hit or on block. We're in a neutral state. He forward wave dashes, and I sidestep it to the left. So Tekken 8 has made an improvement in that sense of regaining agency in the red zone. Now giving us the ability to get in and out of it more freely would go crazy. I've been rambling for a long time. Thank you for sticking around if you have. I know a lot of people are extremely frustrated with Tekken 8 right now. Part of my appreciation for Tekken 8 is the fact that this freedom of movement in the red zone reminds me of this, right? I wasn't there. I wasn't a good player back when I was playing Tekken 6 and Tag 2. Barely a good... I wouldn't call myself a good player in Tekken 8. But it reminds me of that. And the level of interaction and kind of playmaking you can see... Let's unmute it. The playmaking you can see, especially when there's a skill gap, right? When I fight somebody way better than me, it's exciting. It makes me want to get better to do that to them. So, I've been continuously called a shill for probably the past month. But it's that excitement of these old Tekkens that Tekken 8 reminds me of. It's not the same. It's not perfect. But you see so much more of this than you see of... Where's that Evo clip? Than you see of PhiDX versus Knee at Evo. Right? There's just so much more going on. There's just so much more going on than there is going on here. Why is it at 0.25 speed? Not the best delivery of my point, but hopefully that made sense. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Looking forward to season 2 and the finals of Tekken 8. Hopefully, changes will come. Appreciate you guys. Catching the next one. Peace.